With a Shanti mantra, from Prapanna Gita. This is on page 166 of the book Universal Prayers. The second one on page 166. The English translation is on page 167. Om Nanyad vadami na shrunomi na chintayami Nanyad smarami na bhajami na chashrayami Bhaktya tvadiya charanam vajamantarena Shri Shri Nivasa Purushottama Dehi Dasyam. This prayer is to offer our whole personality, body, mind, sense organs, everything, to the divine. That's the purpose of human birth. Otherwise, if we offer our personality to the world, enjoyment of pleasures, hankering for name, etc., then that is total waste of human birth. So it says, the verse says, O Lord, thou supreme being, in my devotion I shall not speak of, nor hear of, nor think of, nor recall, nor adore, nor resort to anything other than thy lotus feet. O thou the Lord, O thou the seat of all virtue and majesty, grant unto me the privilege of serving thee using our whole personality. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So today we study shloka number 30, chapter 3, shloka 30. This is one of the most important verses in the whole of Bhagavad Gita. This is a 5-star shloka. Please make a special note of this and study this in great detail. It has 5 instructions. 5 instructions we have to follow when we do any work. If you do all our work following these 5 instructions given by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in this one verse, that will pave the way for liberation. What happens is, if we do the work in the way prescribed in the scripture by Bhagavan, the mind becomes pure, free from all impurities, which is the main obstruction to God realization. The Lord has always been present in our hearts. He was never absent. It is our true nature. Divinity is our true nature. Even now it is the true nature. But because of ignorance, impurity of mind, we are unable to experience our divine nature. So once the impurities are removed, impurities such as attachment, lust, greed, etc. By doing the work properly in the Karma Yoga way as prescribed in this verse, mind becomes pure and the obstruction is removed, and immediately we realize that the Lord was always with us. He was always there. Only we did not know about His presence. That realization will come. So let us pay attention to this sloka 330 and study the 5 instructions. Maya sarvani karmani sannasyadyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. Nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Words are separated. Now let us study the instructions one by one. First instruction, very important. Sarvani karmani mai sanyasya. Sarvani karmani means all actions, everything that we do, every breath we take, every step we take, every sip of water we drink. The only kind of work we should not dedicate to God are immoral activities. Nishiddha karma. Nishiddha means prohibited actions, such as telling lies and cheating, stealing. Those actions are to be given up the very, very first step in spiritual life. That has to be done first thing before we do anything else. So that has been done. So other than that, any other activity we do, it may be secular activity, just like going to work, working in a workplace for earning a livelihood, or doing the daily chores in the household, cooking, cleaning, taking care of children, etc., or any other such secular activity, or any spiritual activity such as prayer, japa, meditation, study of scripture, holy company. These are all spiritual activities. All of these have to be dedicated to God. Actually, the distinction between secular activities and the spiritual activities will go away gradually. In the beginning, we have a separation. Oh, this is worldly action. This is spiritual action. Like this, we separate activities into two categories. But really, all activities only spiritual activity. Even what we think of as secular activity can be spiritualized and made into worship. We'll study that later in 18th chapter. Everything that we do can be made and done as worship. It becomes spiritual. So you have to spiritualize all our activities. There is no such thing as secular activity. Even going to work, doing the office work, whether in a bank or clinic or government office or business, wherever we work, that is also God's work. It's all His work. Like this we should do. Spiritualize every activity. Then every activity should be done as worship. So the first instruction is, Maya sarvani karmani, all action, Maya means in me or to me, Bhagavan is saying. Sanyasya, dedicating. This dedicating has to be done only mentally. Physically, we cannot offer anything to God. Last time I mentioned how this Pravrajika Divananda Pranaji, she dedicated her series of lectures on Atmabodha to the Holy Mother. In the last class, remember, many of you were watching that one. At the end of the last class, 2 weeks ago or so, she said, I'm dedicating this series of lectures to the feet of the Holy Mother. She said like that. So like that, we have to say whenever we do any action. We don't have to say it aloud. We can say it mentally. Have the feeling in our mind. So mentally, Chetasa Sarva Karmani Maya Sanyasya will come later. We have to dedicate. Dedicate means thinking. This is God's work. I'm doing it as offering to God. Like that, the thought must be there in our minds all the time. Whatever we are doing, even in eating, that comes in 9th chapter. Eating also should be done as worship. So first instruction, dedicating all actions to me, the Lord is saying. This instruction comes in at least 4 more places in the Gita. It's so important that Bhagavan repeats this instruction 4 more times, at least in the remaining chapters of the Gita. Dedicating all actions to God. It comes in the 5th chapter. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasya. Chapter 5, shloka 13, he says, Manasa, mentally, sarva karmani sanyasa, dedicate all your actions to me. 5th chapter. Again, ninth chapter, he says the same thing. Chapter 9, Shloka 27. He says, Yat karoshi yadashnasi, yajjahoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurusha madarpanam. Whatever you do, yat karoshi, tat kurusha madarpanam. Do it as an offering to me. Arpanam means offering. 9th chapter, 5th chapter, 9th chapter, 3rd chapter we are studying now. Again in the 12th chapter, again Bhakti Yoga chapter, he said the same thing. Yeta sarvani karmani maya sanyasya. Those people who dedicate all actions, there are all actions to me, they are my devotees, best devotees. See how many places he says the same thing, very important instruction. And then again in the 18th chapter, Shloka 57, he said the same thing. Chetasa sarvarkarmani maisanyasya matparaha, like this. Chetasa means mentally. So this one instruction you have to always keep in mind. And the back of the mind, so an attitude to be developed. Formally, we don't have to say, I'm offering this to God like this. We don't have to say that in words. But in our minds, we have to keep that bhava, that attitude. Bhava means attitude. I'm doing this for the sake of the Lord. Not that He needs it, but for me to offer it is expression of my love, doing everything for God. Like that one. Just like if there is a little baby in a family, the mother does everything keeping the baby in mind. Whatever she does, baby is in the mind. Like that, God in our mind all the time. Whatever I'm doing it as my worship, as an offering, lovingly. With great joy we have to offer. With great love we have to offer. Because who else is there more dearer to us than God? The dearest person in our life is God Himself. Everything else will come later. All other relationships are temporary. Our family members and friends and everybody, they are there for some time in our life. And then separation will come. But no separation from God. He is in our heart. Whether we are aware of His presence or not, whether we are able to feel His presence or not, He's always there round the clock, protecting us, serving us, taking care of us. Like a mother lovingly takes care of the baby round the clock. When the baby is not aware, she's caring for the baby. So God is our mother. Lovingly, she's taking care of it. That bhava, devotional attitude has to be cultivated and kept in the mind all the time. So all work becomes loving offering. There's no work which we think drudgery or this I have to do. That feeling will go away. We enjoy doing everything because we are doing it for the Lord, our most beloved person in the world, whole universe. So that is first instruction. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya.
Swamiji, 12th chapter, what is the stanza, you said?
12th chapter, shloka number 6.
6. Thank you.
Then second instruction. Sarva karmani maya sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. This is very interesting instruction. Adhyatma means God within us, present within us. Adi Atma is present within us. That His presence within us is called Adhyatma. Chetas means mind. Literally, this term Adhyatma Chetasa means being aware of God's presence within me. One meaning. There's a more interesting meaning. I'll come to that. First meaning is constantly being aware of God's presence within me. When I'm doing something, I should be aware that He's present within me, watching what I'm doing, how I am doing. He's within me. In my heart, He's sitting there all the time. So being aware of His presence. It is, if somebody is watching what we are doing, then we do it one way. If nobody is watching, we do it in a different way. Generally, children do like this one. When their parents are watching or they are doing everything okay, what they are doing. The parents are not watching, they will watch TV. So we should not do like that. He is always within us, lovingly taking care of us, watching us. So I am doing everything in His presence for Him to offer to Him. That is one meaning. being aware of God's presence within me. Second, more important, interesting meaning is given in the commentary by Shankaracharya. When Shankaracharya was commenting on this term, Adhyatma Chetasa, this is what he says. Adhyatma Chetasa Viveka Buddhya Aham Karta Ishwaraya Brityavat Karomi Iti Anaya Buddhya. When we do any work, we should think, Aham Karta, I am the doer. Of course, you can't get rid of the notion I am the doer. That will come at a later. Gani says, I am not the doer. That will come later. But right now, we have the feeling that we are the doer. Let it be there. Aham Karta, I am the doer. But Ishwaraya Brityavat Karomi, for the sake of the Lord. Ishwaraya means for the sake of the Lord, to be offered to him. Britya means a servant. Brityavat, like a servant, as a servant, Karomi, I am doing this work. Taking the position of a servant, thinking of God as the Lord Prabhu, when the Lord Prabhu, doing all work as seva, as service. Remember how Latu Maharaj used to serve Sri Ramakrishna. If nothing else he would do, only serving Sri Ramakrishna, whatever he did. Bringing water from the river, preparing water for his bath, washing his clothes, cleaning his room, helping Holy Mother in making the chapati dough. All these things he did with great love as an offering to Sri Ramakrishna. There was no other selfish motive in it for him. Like that, like Hanuman was serving Sri Rama. Hanuman's whole life was meant for Sri Rama's service. Nothing else was there in his mind. Like that, Britya means a servant. We should think of ourselves as servant and God as our Prabhu, our master. Sri Ramakrishna praises this attitude. In the gospel, a couple of times he says, one should think of oneself as a servant of the Lord. One should think of God as one's Prabhu, as the Lord, and oneself as God's servant. That is the very purest, basic attitude. There are so many different attitudes, relationships we can have with God, but this is the first one, Dasya Bhava. It's called Dasya Bhava. Dasa means a servant. So, Adhyatma Chetasa means doing all work as offering as service of the Lord. This is service of the Lord. Like that we should think. Whatever work we do, whether we are studying Gita or we are cooking or doing office work, I'm this all as his service. He is the recipient of all my actions. That attitude is very important. You have to cultivate that attitude. Nothing need be said outside. You don't have to tell other people I'm doing it as God. Some they won't understand in the workplace. It creates confusion. No need to talk anything. In your own mind. All this happens in the mind only. Work will not change. Same work you have to do every day. Nothing changes. What changes? Our attitude, our mental framework changes. Second instruction, Adhyatma Chetasa. Third instruction, Nirashi. This has come before, it will come again also. Asha means hope or expectation. Nirashi means without expecting any personal benefit for oneself from our work. Doing every work in the interest of all and everything. Not for myself. When some work comes, we should not ask in what way doing this work will benefit me. That question we should not have. We should ask instead, in what way this work will benefit everybody in the family, in the workplace, in the society, in the country, in the whole world. How does this work benefit? How can I make it in such a way that this work benefits other people, animals, plants, things, nature also? There should be no adverse effect caused by our work to any other being in nature, including nature. If my work causes environmental pollution, that work should not be done. My work should not cause any negative effect on the whole of nature. Other beings, animals, plants should not be put to inconvenience by my work. On the other hand, my work should benefit all the other beings. Nirashi, not for myself, not expecting benefit for myself, but in the interest of everybody and everything else, not hoping for benefit for myself. Our benefit will come. If the whole family benefits by my work, I will also be benefit because I'm a part of the family. I don't have to, I don't have to do it only for myself, do it for everybody. In everybody, I'm also included. I'll benefit also. So that large attitude, all of our work must be done in the largest possible context, not in the narrow personal context, but in the largest possible context, keeping in mind the well-being of everybody, everything, and nature. One instruction. Third instruction, offering everything to God as a servant and not for one's own selfish benefit, for everybody's benefit. Nirmamo bhutva. This came before in the second chapter also. Second chapter, shloka 45. Sri Krishna said, you become nirmama. You have that very important, it will come later also. There is in the second chapter, Sri Krishna said, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto Niyavakshema Atmavan, giving up the attitude of mine. Mama means mine. Mera. Nirmama means not mine. We should not say, at least mentally. Sometimes orally, verbally, we have to say, yes, this is my book, this is my room, this is my work, this is my child. We have to say for convenience. Like the maid servant in the master's house used to say, my Rama, my Hari, my kitchen, my garden. Like this, used to refer to the master's house, master's children as her. For conversation, it's okay, but she knew none of them was hers. In the same way, for Vyavahara, for daily transaction conversation, we can say my house, my job, my money, my child, my body, we can say, but inwardly we should know Nirmama, nothing is mine. If you really think about what is mine, you'll be surprising why you'll find nothing is mine. Nothing belongs to us really. Everything we have is given to us by somebody. The clothes I'm wearing, the food I'm eating, the furniture which I'm using, the computer, everything that I'm using, I didn't bring, I didn't make. It's given by somebody for our use for some time, temporary use only. The house in which I live, the room in which I live, not mine. You can say mine for conversation, it's okay, but internally, mentally, you should say nothing is mine. In the body, which I call my body or my body, given to us by the parents. Because of their generosity, their kindness, they brought me into this world. And when I was an infant, what could I do by myself? They took care of me round the clock. Only mother knows how difficult it is, sacrifice, how much involving taking care of a baby when it is an infant. When we grow up, we do things on our own, but mother's role is incomparable. So not mine. Everything is given by God through other people in our lives. So mine should be removed. That is the greatest obstacle. People want to put the mine label on other people's property too. If somebody else has done some work, other people say, oh, this is my work. They like to take credit for somebody else's work. This happens a lot in workplace. That should not be done. You can say my work is okay, but it's all God's work. Unless God gives the opportunity and the ability to work, can we do any work? No, He makes it possible for us to do some work. It's His grace that we are able to do any work. Every breath we take is made possible by His grace. Otherwise, we can't do anything without His grace. It's all His grace. Nirmamo bhutva, not mine, free from my attachment to work, karma phala. Fourth instruction. Last instruction is Yajyasa, Yajyas means fight. Fight means do your duty. This instruction was given in the battlefield, so fight. Not always. Vigata Jvara, fifth instruction. Jwara means fever. Yugata means gone, free from fever. Fear here means mental distress. Yugata Jwara means Yugata Santapaha, Yugata Shokaha, Ityarthaha. Free from mental tension, anxiety, anger, jealousy, etc. When people work, in some workplaces, this tension is very high. Workplace tension is very high in some workplaces. Some places it is good, relatively good, because the environment is like that. So much competition, so much pressure to finish something in deadline. So this tension is there. So we have to work calmly, do the best you can, as much as well as you can, and then leave the rest. I've done my best. The best means I cannot do anything better than that one. The best I can do, quality of work I can produce, fastest, best, keeping in mind efficiency. That's all you can do. And then result, if you are worried about result, then tension will come. Will it succeed or not? If that question comes, then we suffer from anxiety and tension. What happens if it fails? Like this. So do the best. Result is not in our hands. As you saw in second chapter, we can only do our work. Result is not in our control. Second chapter, sloka 47. Famous sloka. Karmanyevadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. Sri Krishna says, your adhikara, your jurisdiction, power is only in the karma you can do. They are also not 100%. Limitations are there. Paleshu mate adhikara, in regard to fruit of work, it is determined by other factors, plus your work. Not just my work alone, but other factors, including what other people do, weather, environment, office environment, family environment, all these things affect the result of our work. It's not only my work. So I have to do my best and accept the outcome calmly, success or failure. That equanimity in success and failure has come before in second chapter, will come again, because success, failure is not in our hands. You can see in any field of human endeavor, sports, in professional life, in family life, in personal life, you can see the result is not in our hands. You do the best, something else will happen. Sometimes it will happen as you expect. What happens when we don't know? So we have to be free from anxiety about the outcome. Yogita Jwara means free from anxiety about the outcome and accepting outcome calmly, whether it is success or failure. This topic will come again in the 18th chapter. It came in second chapter. The topic is very important. When we do some work, we have no control over the outcome. That we have to accept it. We don't like it. We always like to succeed. We'll always like to win. It's not going to happen like that. Any field, in sports, in family life, in everything. Bringing up children, something that everybody knows. If a family, if a set of parents have 2 children or 3 children, they give the same loving upbringing, home environment, everything they do for all the children. But every child will grow up in a different way. One child will succeed, one will fail, one will do something else. So how I gave the best upbringing to all of them, why all of them should not succeed? Because every child brings its own karma to play out. You have no control. Neither do the parents have the control, nor the child itself has control over the karma it brought into this life, prarabdha karma. Same thing in teaching. We may be the best teacher. If you have 30 students in the class, not all the 30 will get A grades. Some will get A, some will get A plus, some will get B, some C, some D, some fail. You have the same teaching. You did not make any distinction. Same syllabus, same material, same assignments, everything was same lecture. But every student did it. How can you control? Not in our hands. So time and again, in every field of life, we continuously taught this lesson. Result is not in your hand. That is said in the second chapter. So what is the solution? That you already gave in second chapter, sloka 48. Very important sloka, 248. There Sri Krishna says, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. No, samo bhutva, yeah, yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Siddhya siddhyo samo samatvam yoga uchyate, sorry. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Siddhi means success, asiddhi means failure. Samo bhutva, remaining equanimous. When success comes, you should not be jubilant and celebrate, because next thing may be a failure. If failure comes, you should not become dejected and unhappy. I've done my best. Rest is not up to me. Result depends upon other factors. What other people do, what happens, what did I do in previous life or in this life. What I did 20 years ago in this life is affecting my present work. It's true in my case, in everybody's case. For example, this class I am doing. If I had studied Gita when I was a young person, in my 20s and 30s, the quality of my teaching would have been much better. I didn't do that one. Something that I failed to do earlier is affecting the quality of my work now. That is true for in every field of work. Or something I did in the past is making my work better now. That way, we have no control over the outcome. Many things beyond our control affect the outcome. Therefore, the last instruction is Vigata Jvaraha Karmani. Free from anxiety about the outcome, stress, jealousy. Sometimes people in the workplace, they are jealous of the co-worker. And out of jealousy, they do some work. Or out of anger, they do some work. The supervisor assigns you that work, some work to you, and you think it should be given to somebody else, not your work, but it is given to you, then you become unhappy. You're stuck with it, but you don't like to do it, that situation comes. So then we should remain calm. That's the test. Can I remain calm? When everything is okay, I can remain calm. Anybody can remain calm. But when something goes wrong against our expectation, then can I still remain calm? That is the question. So here Sri Krishna says, Vigata Jvaraha, free from anxiety, stress, anger, jealousy, do the work calmly, nicely, as well as you can. And once it is done, it's done. The result is whatever comes, comes. These are the 5 instructions. This is a very important shloka. We have to keep all these 5 instructions in mind when we do any work. Any work, in the family or workplace or anywhere else, personal life, anything we do, these 5 instructions have to be kept in mind. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma cetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Some of the same instructions will come later, some will come earlier, but these are the 5 key instructions. In these 5 instructions, all the 4 yogas have come. Karma yoga is there, bhakti yoga is there. Sarvani karmani means dedicate all the actions to God, means bhakti yoga. Devotee has to dedicate. That comes in the bhakti yoga second, 12th chapter, shloka 6. Karma yoga comes, Jnana yoga comes, Adhyatma Cetasa, everything comes here. So verse number 30, now we'll go to verse number 31. The 31 is easy. There Sri Krishna describes what is the benefit we get by following these 5 instructions. What benefit do we get by doing this all our work, keeping in mind these 5 instructions given in 330. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha Saddhavanto nasuyanto muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Ye me matam. Matam means opinion or instruction. Me matam means my instruction, my opinion, my view, my instruction, given in the previous sloka 330. Idam matam nityam ye manavaha anutishtanti. Those who follow these 5 instructions every day, all the work, all the time. Anutishtanti means they follow, put into practice the 5 things, 5 instructions Sri Krishna gave in the previous verse. Those people who put into practice the 5 instructions given by me earlier in the previous verse, what happens to them? Tepi karma bihi muchyante. They become free from karma. Shraddhavanta anusuyanta. Shraddhavanta means endowed with faith in the words of God. Shraddha means the topic of Shraddha will come in the 17th chapter. In great detail, we'll study Shraddha in the 17th chapter. Here, briefly, Shraddha means a conviction based upon understanding, not blind belief, based upon reasoning and understanding, conviction that what Bhagavan has said is true. Words in the scriptures given by the Lord is true. One thing, one part of it, Shraddha. Second part of Shraddha is what the teacher says is true. Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satyavid Devadharana Sa Shraddha Kathitha Sadbihi Taya Vastupalabhyate. There is one sloka in Viveka Chudamani which describes Shraddha in this one. Shastra means scripture. Scripture means Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita. Not all the scripts. Sometimes the scriptures contain instructions which are only good under certain circumstances. Like the Smriti books, Manusmriti, Parashara Smriti, etc. Some instructions are permanent, all the time relevant. Some instructions are relevant under certain conditions only, because society changes. This is not like that. Universal truth. Always true, always relevant, every place, every time. No distinction between in place and time. Any place, any country, any century, any time, any person, any nationality. Truth is truth, unchangeable. And that faith we must have in the instruction given by God in the Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita, and taught to us by the teachers, Guru Vakya. Guru Vakya means, see, Ramakrishna in the Gospel says one should have faith in the Guru's words. Even if a human being comes in the form of a Guru and teaches us the truth, that human being, God himself, comes in the form of the Guru. That's why we say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, like this we say sloka. God himself comes in the form of the Guru in human form. How else can he teach us? Only human being can teach a human being. Animals cannot teach us, and nature cannot teach. Though nature teaches, we don't know. But human being comes. God comes in the form of human being. God himself comes. So that faith must be there. So Shraddhavanta in the second line of Sloka 31, people who have faith in the words of the Bhagavan, in the scripture, God's words. So God said, do these 5 things, so we should do those 5 things with full faith. If I say, why should I offer everything to God? And why should I do it as a servant? Why I'll work as I'm the head of the department, I will not be a servant like this. If we have opposite views, these things will not work. We should follow these instructions with full faith and love. God's words cannot be wrong. Shraddhavantaha, those endowed with full faith. Anasuyantaha, asuya means enemy, jealousy. Somebody has more and I have less, that feeling bothers people. Somebody has more money, I have less money, then hey, this person with less money become jealous, envious of the person who has more money. That should not be there. Everybody gets what one deserves, what one needs. So that jealousy should not be there. In workplace, jealousy comes sometimes. Competition, jealousy, this come. That should not allow. in our minds. Shraddhavanta anusuyantaha. Tepi, they also, those who follow these instructions, matam idam manavaha anutishtanti, ye manavaha, those people who follow my instructions, given in the previous shloka, with full faith. Tepi, they also, karma bhi muchante, they become free from karma. Karma means physically active will not stop, activity will not stop, but we become free from the fruits of action, nothing binds us, and we become free from kartritva notion that I am the doer. Jnani says, I am not the doer. That stage will come. Now I am thinking I am the doer. That is the cause of sometimes some problem. If I am the doer, then I am concerned about the result, etc. will come. But at the highest level, the notion that I am the doer, kartritva, agency will go away. I am not the doer. That feeling will come. That will study in chapter 5. Johnny says, I am not the doer. Then action is happening. He is not inactive. Then how does he say I am not the doer when he is doing the action? He says, I am the Atman. I am not the body mind. Body action is happening at the body mind, sense organ, sense of, and none of those I am. I am the Atman. Where is the action for the Atman? I am free. That knowledge that I am the Atman will come. That is the benefit of doing karma. Karma bhi muchante means they will become free from karma, kartritva. And bhoktritva. Bhoktritva means the notion that I am the beneficiary of this work. I am enjoying the fruit of my work. That also will go. There is nobody to do, nobody to enjoy. Atman alone abides. That highest state of awareness will come by doing these 5 instructions. Slowly, it will not come in 1 day or 2 days. If you keep on doing this with a purity of mind, with love, with gratitude, all the work we do with joy, as offering, as worship, as service, life will, purpose will be fulfilled. Nothing else need be done. No need to change our work. No need to change anything. Same workplace, same family, same dress, same food, same activity. But only mentally our attitude towards work will change. Dasya Bhava, I'm a servant of God. It's not difficult. It's enjoyable. If you start doing it, you will experience the joy in doing this work. Then drudgery will go away, and joyfully, gratefully, we start doing the work. Even the ordinary chores, which are sometimes boring, that also becomes enjoyable. Like I gave the example of Rasika, in the janitor in the Dakshineshwara temple. All he was doing was sweeping the area, like a janitor. In India, they don't have any benefits, no machine, nothing. With a big broom, they have to keep on sweeping the floor. People walk and put trash everywhere. They have to pick it up. What is glamorous about that kind of work? But that's all he did. He quoted Sri Ramakrishna's grace. Sri Ramakrishna blessed him, and Sri Ramakrishna gave darshan, appeared at the time of Rasika's death and held his hand and took him forward. So it does not matter what work. Everybody cannot be CEOs of companies and heads of departments. Any service, even a clerk in the office, does not matter what work you do. But how we do is what makes the difference. So these 5 instructions have to be kept in mind. Now we go to sloka number 32. The opposite, if a person does not follow the 5 instructions, what will happen? That is explained in 32. Ye tvetadabhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudham stan vidhi nashtana chetasaha. Etu etad abhyasuyantaha. The 3 words are combined there. To etad abhyasuyantaha. Etvetad abhyasuyantaha na anutishtanti. Don't follow. Me matam, my teaching. Sarvajnana vimodhan. Tan means those people. Vidhi Nashtan achetasaha. Those people who don't follow my instructions. Ye to those people who abhyasuyantaha means blaming everybody else, blaming other people for anything that goes wrong in their life. Abhyasuyantaha. Me matam na anutishtanti. Do not follow my teachings. Anusthana means following. Ye na anutishtanti. Those who follow my teachings, given earlier in sloka number 30. Sarvajnana vimodhan. Jnana means knowledge, sarva means all. Vimodha means not knowing, ignorant. Those people are ignorant of this knowledge, who deluded in respect of all knowledge. Vimodha means deluded because of lack of knowledge. They don't understand the scriptures properly, or they don't study scriptures, or they don't listen to wise people, words of wise people. These are the two sources we have. Seshtha, whatever a wise person says or does, we have to follow. One source of information. Shastra is second source of information. Some people don't care for either of these things. They do whatever they feel like doing according to their own wishes. That won't work. Sarvajnana vimudhanastan, with the understand, achetasa nashtan. Nashta means lost, people who are lost in this world. Achetasa means avivekinaha. Chetas means mind. Achetasa means, in the commentary Shankara says, achetasa avivekina, without ability to discriminate. Viveka. Aviveki means a person does not know how to differentiate between right and wrong, truth and false. Such a person who has no discrimination, discerning ability to differentiate between right and wrong. That aspect of the mind is called buddhi, intellect. Intellect is the part of the mind which helps us to discriminate. This is right, this is wrong. This is true, this is false. This is good, this is bad. What makes us differentiate like that? Our buddhi, our intellect. If that is not sharp, if not properly, sattvic buddhi is not there, we misunderstand. What is right, we think to be wrong. That kind of confusion will come. Achetasa means avivekina, those who don't have clear differentiating, discriminating faculty. Nashta, know them to be lost. Nashta means lost. Vidhi, they get lost in the world, in the forest of karma, karma phala, they get lost. No way to find exit from this loop of janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, like this loop is there. So that is the disadvantage of not following God's instructions. We don't want to do that. So we don't want to delve much upon it. Follow God's instruction, we'll follow the right path. Now comes a very interesting verse, which can be sometimes misunderstood. Okay, so sloka number 33. It requires some explanation. Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakritirjnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha prakriतेः ज्ञानवान् अपि prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. All words are already separate. There are no compound words here. Here the translation is, even a person of knowledge, jnanavan api, behaves according to one's own nature. Swasyaha prakritehe sadrisham cheshtate. All living beings conform to nature. Prakritim yanti bhutani. Nigraha kim karishyati. What can repression do, suppression do? Let us understand. First line is easy to understand. Jnanavan api. Jnanavan means a person who has jnana, knowledgeable person, wise person. Even wise people, even a wise person, how does he or she act? According to one's own nature. Swasyaha, one's own Prakrite sadrisham, according to one's own nature, cheshtate, acts, behaves. Don't we all do? We all do things in our own way. Everybody does the same work in different way, depending upon our nature. Nature means here Prakriti is used in a different sense. Prakriti has two aspects. External nature, Prakriti means external nature. Nature means all this earth, mountains, trees, plants, animals, they're all part of nature. Our bodies, minds are also parts of nature, external nature. Prakriti also an inward, internal aspect. That means our inner nature. My nature is to be always happy. Some people, my nature is always to be tense. Some people are always tense, needlessly, always in a tension. That's their nature. Now, that inner nature is what is meant here. According to our inner nature, we all behave. That is true, we know that from experience. In the same identical circumstance, if two people are placed, one person behaves one way, another person behaves another way. Why the difference? Because their natures are different. When confronted with a problem, two people have the same problem, let us say, identical problem. Two people are facing. One person remains calm and creatively thinks how to solve the problem. That's his nature. Another person becomes upset and becomes angry and does not know what to do, confused and blames everybody. That's person's nature. We all behave according to our nature, inner nature. What is that inner nature? Can we change it? That is the question we have to answer in this sloka. Then let us do the second line. We'll come to the solution in the next verse. Prakritim yanti bhutani. All beings, bhutani means all the beings, animals, plants, people also. Prakritim yanti, act according to their nature. That we know. Nigraha kim karishyati. What will suppression? Nigraha means suppressing the mind. Suppression does not help. It makes the problem worse. We have to deal with it in a different way. So first let us understand in what is the role of Prakriti in our lives. Here Prakriti means our inward nature. How is our inward nature formed? Because all our actions leave an impression. One thing we have to understand, every time I think of one thought, every time I say a word, every time I do some action, all my actions, mental, speech, or bodily action, leaves an impression in the mind. A record is created. Those impressions are accumulated and they become more samskaras. What you call the word samskara comes in Vedanta. Samskara means all the impressions I have gathered by my own actions in the past. They don't go away. They go deep into the mind. They stay in the deeper part of the mind. In the conscious part, they don't come. They remain hidden. The conscious thought in the mind is called vritti. Two words we have to know. Vritti, samskara. Vritti means what is thought present in my mind at this moment. This moment, what I am thinking in my mind, that is vritti, present thought. Samskara means all the previous thoughts I have thought that have gone down as impressions. So the samskaras keep on accumulating and they drive our personality. They don't simply remain quiet there. They become our character or personality. They drive our life. I act according to my samskaras. If I have gathered very good samskaras in the past, this life and previous life, good samskaras if I have, I'll behave properly in this life. I'll be a sattvic person, dealing with situation nicely, calmly, in a pleasant way, helping other people, thinking good thoughts, worshipping God. The present activity depends upon past samskaras. If my samskaras have been bad in this life, previous life, all my actions will be likewise. I become angry, upset, blame everybody, don't do work properly, selfish, greedy. That's my samskara. So my life depends upon my samskara. Who built the samskaras? Myself. Who created the samskaras? Myself. Nobody else to blame. So that is what Swamiji explains in the Karma Yoga book, first chapter. Swami Vivekananda explains, every person's personality is what oneself has created himself. If I may, this moment, what you are saying in front of you, this being here, whether I'm good or bad, knowledgeable or ignorant, selfish or selfless, ill or well, whatever I am, who made this? Myself. I myself built this personality impression by impression. I've been building it from the beginning of my existence, previous lives also. What I am today is sum total of what I have thought, done, and said so far. That's the fixed part of it. I can't change my samskaras. Good news is there. By changing my thoughts and actions in the present moment, I can change my samskaras, build better samskaras, add better samskaras. From this moment onwards, if I do think good thoughts, pure thoughts, do good actions, tell the truth, work hard and be unselfish, then my samskaras will be all positive and my future is all positive. I'll become a sattvic person. By thinking about God all the time, doing all work as offering to God, helping other people nicely, sattvic way, I become a sattvic person and I will realize God. By doing all bad actions, telling untruth and cheating, I become a bad person, put bad samskaras and my life will be ruined. Which way I want to go is left to me. My future is in my hands. This is a very old idea and Vedanta is not something new. Nowadays, the modern neuroscience people have come to the same conclusion. There is something called neuroplasticity. Divananda Prarajika has spoken about it in their lectures, and other people have spoken about it. Neuroplasticity means the neural connections in your brain can be changed by changing our present thoughts, not fixed in conflict. We can change our personality by changing our thoughts. This is very old knowledge, not something new. In the Ashtavakra Samhita, this comes. In the Upanishad, it comes. Chandogya Upanishad comes. As a person's thought is, so is person's life. So it's a very old information, but we have to put into practice. You make use of that flexibility in our life. I can change my life. It's in my hands. If I'm unhappy and unwell, I don't have to be there forever like that. I can change it. Takes a lot of hard work and slow, but it's in my hands. In Ashtavakra Samhita, some of you studied that here in Maryland with Atmagyanji some time ago. There, one sloka is there. If you like, you can make a note of it. First chapter, chapter 1, sloka number 11 in Ashtavakra Samhita. It has, I think, 18 or so chapters, about 298 slokas. In that chapter 1, sloka number 11, Ashtavakra says to Janaka, Ashtavakra is a great Jnani from birth. Before he was born, he was a Brahmajnani. In the mother's womb, he was a Brahmajnani. Ashtavakra. Janaka was also Rajarshi Brahmajnani. They had a conversation. The conversation is in Ashtavakra Samhita. Ashtavakra Samhita is a very interesting book. Sri Ramakrishna told Swami Vivekananda to read Ashtavakra Samhita behind closed doors only for himself. He did not teach, Sri Ramakrishna did not teach Ashtavakra Samhita to other 15 disciples. Only to Swami Vivekananda he taught that one behind closed doors. Very special book. There in that first chapter was already time. Ashtavakra says, whatever a person thinks, that he will become. The exactly same translation comes in the Gospel, one place. Sri Ramakrishna says. The sloka is like this. Chapter 1, sloka number. Sloka is like this. Mukta bivani mukto hi baddho baddha pimanyapi. Satya yamati sagati kimbalanti satyayam yamati samatir bhavet. Sloka is Mukta bimani mukto hi buddho baddhapi manyapi kim vadanti satyayam yamati swagatir bhavet. Yamati, as one thinks, sagati, so one becomes. As I think, I become. So we'll pursue this sloka number 33. It's a very interesting sloka. There's a lot in it that we have to understand and put into practice. How we can change our lives. We can all reach God. By changing our life from this moment onwards, it's in our hands. We don't blame anybody else or fate or destiny. No, no, no. It's in our hands. No matter what, in what condition we are right now, from there we upward movement that's in our hands. Very positive message of Vedanta. Nothing more promising, more positive than this sloka number 33. We will study this in a little bit more detail next time, and a few more minutes we can open for questions or comments. They're all same. Doing this, everything as for God is yajna. Offering everything to God is yajna. Dedicating all actions to God is offering to society, to God, to other people, not for just myself, in the interest of everybody. That's the concept of yajna. They're not different instructions.
Okay. In Tapasyanandaji's translation, he's writing Vigata Jwaraha as with passion spent. And in the translation of the verse, he's writing, you fight without the slightest touch of hatred or excitement.
Yes. Yeah, Jwara means all those things: hatred, excitement, jealousy, anger, depression, tension, all this comes under Jwara. All these are improper attitude towards work. Calmly, nicely, joyfully, gratefully, we should do the work, not with tension, anxiety, anger. Those are not the proper way to do work. Vigata Jwara. Anything else?
Swamiji, I don't think I have written down the 5 points you have mentioned. Would you just mention once again, please?
Yes, I will. 5 points in sloka number 30 in chapter 3. 5 things.
Yeah.
First thing is dedicating all actions to God.
Yes, that I have written.
Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. Second thing is adhyatma chetasa, as a servant of God, doing everything as a servant, serving the
Yeah.
Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Second instruction. Third thing is nirashi. Nirashi means not expecting benefit for oneself, for the benefit of all. Unselfish. 3.
Mm-hmm.
Nirashi bhutva. Fourth is nirmamo bhutva. Nirmamo means not mine, but everybody. This result work is not only for me, for everybody.
We.
Like that. Not mine, but
Others.
yeah, for God's. So devotee thing, supposing devotee has a house, he does not think it is his house. It is God's house. I am a temporary occupant. God has allowed me to stay in his house for some time. After that, somebody else will come occupy this house. This is God's house, God's money, God's child. I call it my house, my money, my child, my job. That's okay. It's all his, not mine. So not mine. Not mine, but thine, O Lord. That's the proper attitude towards everything, including the body. Last one is Vigata Jwaraha. Free from anxiety, tension, hatred, anger, all those things.
Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Okay, shall we say the closing prayer?
Swamiji, Namaste. I have one question that core of what we learned today is like a 5th point. We should get rid of Shadaripus, right? What is Kama, Krodha, Moha, Mada, Matsara, and you should offer the God, right? So sometimes in life there are situations come that we are like want to deal with the situation with no hatred and no anger, but some kind of people are there who take the advantage of our good nature. So at that time, how should we deal with this using the Bhagavad Gita?
Very good question. You should not allow other people to take advantage of your goodness. Then you will become a doormat in the workplace, especially if you are very good. They think you are weak and they will take advantage of your goodness and do all kinds of things. So the Ramakrishna's instruction is, remember the parable, his but not by. You have to say, you should take a firm stand about your rights. What he says, something ill of you, talks ill of you,
Okay.
Sometimes you just have to ignore it and don't bother about everything. But if you become
Okay.
too much, if too much you keep on doing it because you are forbearing it, then you should say some, no, this is not right. You have no
Okay.
right to do that one.
It's for your own defense. Yeah. Okay.
You have to take a firm stand without anger or hatred.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
If you tell them
Yes.
you're wrong, you don't have to be aggressive, you have to be assertive.
Right.
Not aggressive,
Exactly.
but assert. You have to assert your rights. Somebody takes away your work, we should not allow that to happen. No, this is my work, I did it, I get the benefit.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Otherwise, if you become weak, they'll take undue advantage and
Over and over again and again. Yeah.
don't allow that to happen.
Yes. Yes.
Being a devotee does not mean you should become weak. I give an example, actual example.
Mm-hmm.
In Sri Ramakrishna, one of his disciples was Swami Yogananda,
Mm-hmm.
youngest one. One day, Swami Sri Ramakrishna asked him to buy a cooking pan.
Mm-hmm.
Took him to the market with some money, and Yogananda Swami brought the cooking pan.
Okay.
And then Sri Ramakrishna took the pan and looked, there was a hole in it.
Okay.
And then he asked him, how much did you pay? He said, same amount. Sri Ramakrishna said, this is too much money. You should have
Expensive.
negotiated this. You have paid way over the market rate. You have bought a defective product. Whole you didn't examine. A devotee does not mean you should be inefficient and let other people cheat you. The shopkeeper cheated him.
Yes. Right.
Swami took more money. So Sri Ramakrishna said, no, you are a devotee. Does not mean you should be gullible and allow other people to cheat you. You should examine the product properly, do everything efficiently.
Yes. Yes.
So you should be assertive, stand up for your right, but don't be hatred or anything.
Okay. Yes. Get detached from the hatred, but yeah,
Yeah.
convey your message. Yes. Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay. Closing prayer.
Yes.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from diseases and afflictions. May all realize what is noble and auspicious. May no one be subject to misery. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all and stay well and
Thank you, Swamiji.
see you next week. Very good. Thanks.
Swami.